this is Danny from T&D Productions. How are you today? So I thought maybe today we'd talk a little bit about America. What's different about what people do in America that other countries don't do, that Americans find normal every day. So let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about the tipping culture and what's weird, the tipping culture. Now, typically in America, you tip your waiter, or you tip your driver, or you tip your delivery person a little extra money. But in the rest of the world, it's not really mandatory. Yes, you can tip if you think something is extraordinary service. It's not mandatory because the owners of the company pay a full wage for that person's service. In fact, in some countries like South Korea or Japan, tipping is actually considered rude. It's like telling them that they're poor and they need extra money. Also, I think the tipping culture is starting to sneak into places like the Philippines or Cambodia or Vietnam. It's still not mandatory, but still they love to be tipped. They're starting to get that American tipping culture there, but hopefully it won't be mandatory anytime soon. I remember one time I was in a bar talking to this Australian expat who was living in Thailand. He told me the only tipping he sees in Thailand are from American expats and American tourists who don't really realize that they don't really supposed to tip in Thailand. And speaking of things that Americans consider normal, but the other countries consider strange, let's talk about healthcare. In the U.S., medical bills can go into the thousands or $2,000s of dollars, which is kind of strange because other countries, they don't seem to go that high. Everything seems to cost lots of money dealing with medicine in America, especially without insurance. An ER visit can cost about $2,700. Even a simple x-ray can be anywhere from $100 to $500. When I lived in South Korea, the difference was night and day. A typical visit to a doctor for a simple head cold or maybe a case of bronchitis costs you a total of $30, and that's without insurance. With insurance, it goes down to $10. And a doctor may give you some antibiotics or some sort of prescription medication. You go to the pharmacy to get it filled. You're looking at maybe $20 for no insurance and about $8 with insurance. Bills like that become a little bit more manageable with or without insurance. Also, I remember one time I was in Korea and my insurance for my job didn't quite kick in yet. I fell straight on my face and really cut my lip and had to go to a clinic there. I went into the clinic and their triage section. The doctor wanted to make sure I didn't break any bones in my face or anything, just a precaution. He wanted to get an x-ray. Now remember, in America, x-rays cost like $100, $500, and probably even more without insurance. I was thinking it was going to be quite an awful amount of money. Well, getting the x-ray, getting the ointment, and seeing the doctor, the whole bill came like $50, which was pretty good because I didn't have insurance. A lot of countries think that if you pay $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for a medical bill, that's kind of crazy to do. But in America, it seems normal. From healthcare, let's go down to food now. Now, the food in America is a big shocker because things are huge. You got super size things, super large size, mega size, everything. Big, huge portions everywhere you go. Your big ass fries.
Enjoy your extra big ass fries.
Gigantic hamburgers and big milkshakes. And of course, you get free refills on your drinks, on your mega sized drink. Americans and people in the U.S. find this normal. However, other countries find it kind of strange. Why do you need that much food? I remember one time, and when I was in South Korea, I visited the U.S. Now, I was already accustomed to smaller sizes. I went into Wendy's to get a quick meal before my next plane. So I went into that Wendy's and ordered my meal. They asked me what size drink I wanted. I know that I didn't have much time for my next flight, so I couldn't really have a large drink. So what I ordered, I said, okay, yeah, I want something a little bit more than small. I was getting medium, because I was thinking medium drinks in Korea were a good size. My medium drink was huge. It was like maybe 32, 40 ounces. So I took my big ass drink, my big ass fries, and had my hamburger, and I just ate my meal and boarded my next plane. And if you go to another country and order the same thing, you're not going to get a big 40-ounce drink, and especially you're not going to get any refills on that, which I think is totally crazy. Why would somebody want a refill on a 40-ounce drink? Big shot of diabetes. If they do that, they're going to have to go to the hospital or doctors and pay medical expenses like $1,000, $2,000. So portion sizes are definitely bigger in America. And when Americans go abroad, they find themselves a little not really full. So it makes them want to eat more. Speaking of food portions and going to fast food places, let's go to the next one. Drive-in culture. It's not just at fast food places. We have them everywhere in America. There's drive-through banks, drive-through pharmacies, drive-through everything. I mean, you don't have to get out of your car. I remember seeing drive-in ATM machines. That's the strangest thing. In other countries, you have to actually go into places, go into the banks, go into pharmacies, and go into some restaurants. But in America, you don't even have to get out of your car. Just drive on through. Other countries, they find that strange, but Americans find it normal. From drive-thru cultures to air conditioning everywhere. Now, air conditioning is one of those staples that I think every American, especially in summer, need. They like to have air conditioning going like all the time, especially in summer or in the warmer climates. They like to have it comfortable wherever they go. In other countries, they only use air conditioning when they really, really need it. Most places just open their windows, let a breeze in, unless it gets very, very hot outside. Then they'll put air conditioning on. But for the most part, people will just use their windows. And they look at America and think that's a waste of energy to have your air conditioner running all day long when you have perfectly working windows. Now let's talk about the funny one, sports culture. Now, you know the whole cliche about American football, but did you know that hardly anybody cares about soccer in the U.S.? In fact, the rest of the world thinks that America is strange because they play American football. Americans seem to be obsessed with this sport instead of soccer. Whereas Americans think, why the hell would these people play a sport that is totally unpopular? Let's go down to the measurement system, which is really funny. The U.S. uses a whole different measurement system than the rest of the world. The rest of the world likes metric, things in increments and multiples of 10, such as meters and kilometers and liters and grams and the weird one, Celsius. That's called a metric system. America uses English version. The foots, the inches, the yards, the miles. It is totally confusing, and Americans think that they're normal and the rest of the world is messed up for using metric. So there you have it. There's some things that America does differently from the rest of the country, but thinks is normal. And the rest of the world thinks America is crazy for doing it that way. We touch on things such as driving culture or measurement systems and portion sizes. Let me know what you think in the comments. Has there been something weird in America that you find totally strange in your country? So let me know. Also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tune in to TND Productions, the YouTube channel made for expats, by expats, about expats. See you next time.